is Rory O'Toole.
And my name is Matt Schultz.
And this is How to Be,
the podcast where we discuss ancient wisdom, modern hacks, paperback self-help books, and pithy platitudes,
in the hopes of figuring out the best way to live this one precious and wild life.
Do you long to have money in the bank? Do you struggle to return emails and get to the airport on time? Is your bedroom floor coated in dirty and discarded laundry? If so, join us as we discuss the promise and the peril of having your shit together. Hey, Roar.
Hi, Maddie.
Roar, I'm so disturbed by that news story I sent you about the woman who was eaten by the snake.
There was a woman who was eaten. Wait, is this the woman who was her? The video with the woman the snake wrapped around her?
No, that was awful. Also,
because I've been thinking about that video nonstop and was like, I kind of need a follow up with that.
Yeah, that was terrible. That what Rory is referring to is a video on Twitter of this idiot woman who decided to have a snake as a pet.
A big snake.
A big snake. And she's like, hey, baby girl, let's feed you. Hey, baby girl. You know, like she's pretending she has a relationship with this thing. And it attacks her. It bites her. There's blood everywhere. It's wrapping itself. Her arm is purple. The circulation is cut off. She's like to her friend, she's like, can you help me, please? You know, like, she's like
yeah.
Really
and then there's someone recording the video. And the person recording is like, should I stop recording and help you? And she's like, no, keep recording. And then there's like a third person who's like sort of trying to help her. But like, it made me realize that if a snake decides to wrap themselves around you, that's it.
That's it.
There's no way to get the snake off of you because the snake was doing the hand and then moved to the leg and the snake was huge and she's fucked.
Yeah, you have to stab it, I think. I would have stabbed it with a knife. But that's because I'm the type of person who wouldn't own a snake. And this 55-year-old woman in a country where there's giant pythons about.
Just roaming about. Not a pet snake.
No, was eaten alive. She was a grandmother. She was missing. They found her in a snake.
Wait, what? Like she went on a walk?
Yeah.
Or did the snake come into the house? They don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know how they crossed paths.
Apparently they were dating.
Wait, and we don't know the country?
I can pull up the country.
Wow, what a way to go.
This was Fox News Instagram, which I will affirm right now is one of the best Instagrams to follow. No Instagram profile has ever had me clicking on that link tree, that link in bio. So often they post the most tantalizing clickbait.
They know how to write a caption.
Okay, so we've clicked. So she was Indonesian. She was eaten alive by a 22-foot python. A search party located the python and found the woman inside after dissecting it. And she was she worked like in an agricultural setting. So that's where she was outside collecting rubber and was eaten by a python. And here's my question for you. Is there any life you could live that would be satisfying enough that being eaten by a snake at the end of it would not make you wish you had just never been born?
Well, my main question is, when do you die during this process? Are you alive in the stomach?
I saw a video also on Twitter of a firefly inside a frog that had eaten it, and you could see the twinkle like through the frog. So I think you might be alive for a little bit in there. But I actually think I think your bones are being crushed. It's a lot of pressure. They're very they're crushing you.
Okay, the bones crush, that just sounds like agony. It doesn't sound like instant death to me.
I think it's agony.
Well, I guess
think it's gross.
To harken back to one of our first cold opens, this is a time in which I
Just hit
hope
me again.
the
Sorry.
next snap does
Oh,
cause
yeah.
death, I would hope. Yeah, I think so. I think, you know what, being eaten alive by a snake at the end of my life,
She was
if you
only
die
54.
quickly, well, it's the end of your life if your life ends, no matter what age you are.
That's true.
Um, I was thinking about this though. When people have pet snakes, do they just keep them in that cage all the time? Or do they ever get to go out?
I think they're mostly in that cage, and then you can maybe take them out and like show them around to your
That's so
friends.
fucking rude.
They're not supposed to be pets. Let's get real
Yeah,
here.
I mean, I think it's maybe one of the biggest red flags you could ever have in a person is if you have a pet snake that's like large, especially. The size does matter in this case, okay? I'm going to need you to not be a freak who has a pet snake.
Let's get real here. There's two pets.
It's a dog, it's a cat. What about a bird? I think a bird is a
Nope.
charming pet.
Cruel.
A parakeet?
Yep. Birds are meant to fly.
A parakeet?
What? There's only one reason to be a bird. And it's because you get to fly free.
Okay, but
The impulse to put a parakeet in a cage is so sinister.
can I tell you though something?
You may.
We
It's
found a
not gonna change
parakeet.
my mind.
Yes, it will, because we found a parakeet in our backyard. And if you like, it was someone else's bird, obviously, and you can't let a caged bird out in the wild because the other birds will kill it. So we actually had to take it in.
Okay, but that's like, that's working within the damaged system of parakeet adoption.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I think it would be a better world if we just didn't get into that situation to begin with.
What about a bunny rabbit?
I think rodents are fine pets for children.
What about a G pig?
Every boy, every boy growing up should have a guinea pig or two.
Matt was obsessed with guinea pigs growing up. A real freak of nature over here.
Every boy, a guinea pig teaches a boy about responsibility, love, beauty,
about shirking responsibility onto your mother.
the nobility of God's creatures.
I would say the two worst pets you could have are a snake and a ferret.
Yeah.
The two creepiest pets you could possibly own.
What about spiders?
A spider is better than a ferret or a snake to me.
I would take a ferret over a spider.
A ferret?
Yeah. At least they've got personality.
Ugh. A spider, it's just like, well, whatever.
Let's get into our topic for today. Today we're talking about having your bleep together.
Having it together. Getting it together. Being together.
Now, I want to propose something. I want to propose a breakdown for this conversation of some topics I want to hit.
I completely agree. I was going to say, I think an agenda for our listeners would actually be fantastic.
Okay, so here's my agenda for the day. I have made a little list of 4 different ways in which you can have it together, and also the 4 corresponding ways in which you can be chaotic. Okay, so let me read you what these are. Calendar queens versus confused queens. We'll talk about what that is. Women of the world / little babies. Susie Orman savants / agents of financial chaos.
Ooh.
Tidy Tims / messy Jessies.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so let's go. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. So we're going to start first with calendar queens, confused queens. I know you have a lot to say on this topic because you're a real calendar queen.
I don't even need a calendar. I just remember it.
And I'm so confused.
Yeah, you are. So why don't we tease this out for people? It's like, you don't know, like you're in school in school is a lot of, your calendar changes cyclically, sort of on a twice a year basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a whole new calendar twice a year. And up until the day that classes start, you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. Also, like, okay, the past 2 days, I was so confused about. I've been so confused for the past couple days. There have been a few things. I've just had these 2 days off. I've not been, and I've had different things to do on each of them, and a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. So,
Write it
like, if
down.
there's an abrupt change in your schedule, it like throws your whole
Throws
world
me.
off, right? So, if you have a day off in the middle of the week, you're like deeply uncentered.
Also, right now, apologies to our dear listeners if you hear party people in the background. My roommate's having a party. I'm sure she told me about it. Didn't write it down. Didn't remember. Today, this is like a classic me experience. Like this, like guy texted me. He's like, "What's the deal with this Halloween party?" And I was like, "What Halloween party?" He's like, "Is at your house tonight?" I'm like, "This is the first time hearing about it."
But it isn't.
But it is not.
Yeah. See, that would never happen to me in a million years.
Imagine if Sam threw a party without you. Like, just didn't really know, but you were there.
That's how Sam is, though. Like, he's like a baby that I walk from room to room. Like, he's, it's like he just puts on a button down shirt and is prepared to go wherever I'm telling him to go on a Saturday. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you a question about, so the opposite of a calendar queen is a confused baby. So, like, when you got your driver's license and you drove places that your mommy had driven you for your whole life, did you know how to get there?
No.
Okay, because I was driven around without, like, it was as if someone had scooped the eyeballs out of my head with a spoon. I had no idea how to get places 5 minutes away from my house.
No, I know my best friend from childhood is listening to this and like has a confused look on her face, thinking about me as like someone who has her shit together, because I was like a notoriously like a confused kid who like never had the key to my house. Like her parents would drop me off and I'd just be locked out. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that. I want to go back in time and laugh at you.
I was
my
like
revenge.
a messy desk, like, like homework was like never quite done on time. Like, I was just like, I was not together. I didn't get together until, I don't know, like, was I together in college? I guess I was kind of together in college.
The room was a sty.
Well, yeah, that messy took a little longer, but like, I wasn't confused about class or things like that, or like, I always got my assignments done on time. I think I became like more together in high school. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Surprises me that you weren't one of those clean girls.
Yeah.
With like a really nice book report on poster board with the nice bubble letters.
No, I had horrible handwriting. Horrible handwriting.
Girls are so interesting in that way of how neat they are on the whole.
Yeah, that has to be socialization, right?
I don't know. I think.
What about little boy chicken scratch? Why is all your writing so tiny? Have you noticed that little boy writing is so tiny?
It's because when we were evolving and we were in tribes.
Yeah, cavemen.
And the cavemen and the men had to be catching the saber-toothed tiger.
Mm-hmm.
The tiger looked really small on the horizon. So our eyes are trained for that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. So like for me, it's really hard when I have friends who, I think, it's all relative, right? So there's a couple people in my life who are like, oh, Rory, she's just can't get it together. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I'm like a together friend. And I think, and it's hard for me to understand my friends who are chaotic, or the people in my life who are chaotic. I'm like, write it down.
Except you have no friends who are together. All your friends are chaotic. Like
No,
you're drawn to chaos.
no, I'm not. My friend Sylveon's
That's
very
why you
together.
choose us.
My friend Sylveon.
Can I make a little aside?
Yeah.
So you know how we hate that like evolutionary psychology stuff when men were catching
Yeah.
saber-tooth tigers. So I started listening to this book called Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. He also wrote Deep Work. I'm sure we'll do an episode on that at some point.
Yeah, I know
I
him.
I really thought of this because he was like, when you're sitting with your friend and you get a text, you feel pressure to respond right away because your brain's telling you that this is someone from your tribe trying to get your attention from
Oh my
across the
God.
fire, and it would be rude to snub them. It's like, couldn't you just say that when you get a text, it feels like someone's trying to get your attention and you don't want to be rude and snub them? Why do we have to take it back to this fire?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And like, how do we know that people who are sitting around a fire cared about the people across the fire?
Yeah,
The
we do know that we
assumptions we're
care.
making about cave people, it's insane.
Yeah, they need a lobby, those Geico cavemen.
I would also like, yeah, since you mentioned it, it really annoys me when people are with me and they are constantly responding to text messages. It's like, they can wait. I'm here with you.
Now, I feel like you're calling me out here.
I kind of am because when we're on the phone, you're constantly going silent. Like, sorry, I'm responding to a text message. And it's like, I get it, but like, put it all in one text, Matt. Don't do that to me 10 times in 15 minutes.
Well, Roar, when you talk to a body 5 times a day, sometimes you have to do some other business while you're on that call.
But what I don't understand is you're like, well, I'm about to meet up with someone. It's like, put it all in one text. Like, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'll meet you in front of the cafe. See you then.
Yeah, doesn't always work out that way. In a perfect world, sure. In ideal world, absolutely. 100%.
Okay. All right.
Anyways,
Let's get back on track here.
let's
This
get
is
back. Should we move on from calendar
Rory's pet
queens?
peeves. Yes.
So, next up on our list is women of the world slash little babies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a woman of the world is a term we invented to describe a quality that Rory has that I don't feel I have, that we don't feel I have. A woman of the world knows the names of actresses and movies. She is aware of who's up for an Oscar this year.
Well,
She
it's not just entertainment though.
no,
It's like
I'm moving forward. She knows what a house costs
mhm.
and how much you're supposed to put down,
And what an interest rate should be.
when interest rate should be. She knows
How
what a
to
car costs.
Yeah, how to store a sweater. How you want to store your wool sweaters, for example, or
Mhm.
the difference between baking soda and baking powder.
She's a woman of the world. She knows things that honestly, she knows things that adults know. And some people don't become adults, they stay little babies.
Which
They
is
don't
kind
know
of
anything.
weird to me because when I was a little kid, don't you feel like all the adults around you were adults?
Yeah, but that's because we were children, which means we were born, which means these were people who succeeded in reproducing, getting married, having jobs. Like,
Oh, so
we
you
weren't-
think if you have a child, you're a woman of the world or a man of the world?
No, but I think that we weren't seeing the weird uncle who moved to LA to become a performance artist.
But he doesn't have kids. What if he had a kid?
He doesn't.
So you're saying if you have a child, then you are a person of the world.
I'm saying people, adults,
Yeah.
not necessarily women of the world, but people who having a kid adultifies you.
Oh, okay.
Now, some people can stay children after having kids,
Mhm.
but the
That's where
chances.
DCFS gets involved.
Yeah, and like this is something I've thought about. Often wondered, why did the people in my life not resemble the people in my parents' life? Like their decorum, their sort of like you know how they dress, everything about them is so much less mature,
Hmm. Absolutely.
so much less adult. And this is the theory that I'm proposing to you is that's the best I've come up with.
Well, yeah, I guess am I a woman in the world without a child?
No, I don't think adult and woman of the world are quite the same thing.
Oh, okay.
They overlap, but a woman of the world, I don't know. Yeah, you're an adult woman. You're very woman.
I've been a woman since I was quite young. That's true.
You
Yeah.
womaned early.
I womaned out, you know?
Well, do you remember my theory that everyone has two genders? Their like adult gender
And
and
they're,
their child gender.
yeah.
So like I'm I feel like my adult self is a woman,
Hmm.
but my child self, my inner child is a boy.
A little boy.
Yeah, he's like digging in the mud, he's collecting worms. But like my adult self is the woman. She's plotting,
It's
conniving.
interesting because I feel like your little boy self is actually like more like drawing Sailor Moon, making dresses for mommy.
He was both. But that was his making dresses for mommy was his inner adult woman. Whereas you are a woman and a girl.
Obviously, yeah. I don't have a lot
Your
of
mom,
masculine energy about me.
yeah,
Although I am bossy.
yeah. You're
But I've not, as we've talked about, I don't have supreme control over my partner.
yeah, you don't
I haven't
rule with an
mastered
iron
that.
fist.
No, I haven't mastered that. He really has a mind of his own.
Yeah,
Still.
you suffer his flaws silently. Or not silently, but with resignation.
Yeah, I have to adjust to them. So yeah, can someone change from being a little baby to a person of the world? I think you have to like pay attention to things and remember them.
Yeah,
Like
I'm working on it.
I learned most of my stuff from like pop culture and then like inquiring about it, like watching Seinfeld, learning something from Seinfeld, and then asking my mom what it meant, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like what's a diaphragm?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what's the sponge, really?
What's the sponge?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Who's Merv
yeah,
Griffin?
yeah, like my dad always knew the answer to every question.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, okay, so the other day I'm watching The Good Wife and I'm like, I don't quite understand the difference between an equity partner and a name partner and a managing partner at the law firm.
Uh-huh.
Now, I Googled it, I read a little bit about it, whatever. I bet if I asked my dad, he would just know, he would be able to tell me. Because he's like, Joe Salerno's a lawyer and like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
he'll, that's part of it. It's like if you live longer.
Yeah, exactly. But some people live a long time and they're not paying attention. They're like you and as a baby in a car with no eyeballs.
Yeah, there's only what's relevant to them. I'm
Yeah,
not a
like
lawyer.
yeah, exactly. One ear out the other, like this Halloween party that you apparently didn't plan on attending.
Yeah, I think I will attend it though after this. Um, so little babies, yeah, they don't know what things cost.
No. Like, oh my God, can I tell this story
Yeah,
about
can you?
you?
Oh, about me, sure.
When Matt moved back to Boston to go to rabbinical school 2 years ago, um, he about a month or two after he moved, he was like, I gotta like start saving some money. Like my money's going fast, da da da. And I was like, well, you're shopping at Whole Foods. We call that whole paycheck. And you're like, oh, whatever. Groceries cost the same amount. I was like, start looking at those prices. And then I was on the phone with him while he was in Whole Foods, and he gasped at the almond butter he was buying. The cost of the almond butter he was buying, he never looked at the prices. It was $20, listeners. He was buying $20 almond butter and didn't even notice it.
I remember it being 14.
It was 20. Dull hairs. Maybe it was 14. Okay, I'll give that to.
Do they sell $20 almond butter?
Yes.
Yeah, well, my roommate, he not only looks at the price of things, he also compares the price to like the net weight,
Yeah,
like the grams.
I do that sometimes.
He's like, so that, and it's like, okay, now we're,
Well, like when you're buying like meat or cheese.
yeah, but what if you're buying granola and you're looking at two granolas?
Yeah, you can usually tell, I guess, the difference by like just the package size, I feel like.
Yeah, but you don't know the difference of the ratio of price to grams.
That's
You know,
true. That's true.
it's
Yeah.
about the ratio. So that's like a level of care to be put in. And honestly, like respect for your own money. But you know what? This is leading us into our next chapter of this episode, which is Susie Orman Savants. No, I almost wanted to call it Susie Orman Acolytes, but then I realized no, the type of person I'm talking about doesn't need to listen to Susie Orman.
I don't know. Like, did they just get this financial advice from their parents?
They just respect money. Yes, it came from the home.
It
It
did.
came from the home. I know my mom is listening, and she'll cop to this. We came from a home of not looking at grocery prices,
Mm-hmm.
recklessness,
Mm-hmm.
put it in the cart, and me and my mom now, like, we've spent basically like our whole lives trying to like claw that back and figure out how to pinch a damn penny, and it's hard.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't recall like my parents talking about the price of groceries really, but Sam taught me how to very young when I was first started grocery shopping for myself. So it really stuck.
What's
You
his
know,
method?
he taught me to look at pricing. That's the method.
That's the method.
I mean, I think I learned quickly like what the normal price of like an apple should be and like, when it's more expensive. And would like look at this store versus Whole Foods versus Trader Joe's. And then it's also like what's on sale, buy one, get one, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I just like somehow still inside me is like this belief that it doesn't matter. It's like, it's going to cost what it's going to cost.
Yeah. I mean, there is a certain truth to that too. I almost feel like it's a matter of perspective and it is just what you buy into it. I mean, it's also how committed you are because like I feel like if you're someone who really cares about pinching grocery pennies, you have to pinch pennies everywhere for it to really add up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To make a difference. Like you can't pinch pennies in one area of your life because then you're just going to be saving like, $300 a year.
Yeah.
You have to pinch pennies and you have to be a frugalista.
You have
Never
to be
go
a
out to eat,
frugalista.
never buy a latte, always buy the cheapest groceries, eating stuff every day that you are disappointed with.
I know. And it's really annoying. Like, I really was trying to make November be the month where I start the month not in negative.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be a historic first. And I don't think it's going to happen. We're a few days out. A few days. I'm this is like classic what we're talking about awareness, like how many days are in October. I'm like not completely clear on 31. Okay.
We're a few days out. I would say a few is good.
It's like 5.
Is 5 not a
Count
few?
today. 5 is pushing it for a few. But yeah, at a certain point, I'm trying, I'm striving, I'm striving. And then I'm like, who cares? Who cares?
Exactly. That's the cycle of the month. The beginning of the month, so hopeful. The end of the month, caution,
Yeah.
wind, meet wind, caution, meet wind.
Yeah, because I'm like, who the fuck cares? I'm just like, what am I gonna do? Not, I have to get groceries.
That's the thing is you
Also,
don't there's this thing about people who like don't have a lot of disposable income. It's like, what come on, really? Where are you gonna cut?
yeah,
What are your luxuries in life, Matt? Getting a haircut? Paying someone to cut your hair besides cutting it yourself?
yeah.
How dare you?
You know what my date said about my hair the other day? He said I have a little Carson Daly thing going on.
How rude.
I thought so.
That is so rude. Have you seen Carson Daly lately?
He meant like Carson Daly back when.
Oh, that's interesting.
My little
Okay.
flip. He's not wrong.
It's really minor, but
It's minor.
um yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's easy to be a Susie Orman acolyte if you're like, how much money should I put in this investment account versus this savings account versus my retirement account
Yeah, like, do
versus
I
buying an Hermes bag, you know?
exactly? Should I buy this ski chalet?
Yeah.
No. Whereas I'm like, should I buy this shirt? Nah, I bought a shirt last year. I still have a shirt. I still have that Marianne Williamson shirt that I think I look good in.
Yeah, Jesus. Like, yeah, this is for the solidly middle class, okay? Not
Yeah,
for
it's like
those who came from the middle class and have fallen in the ranks.
and plummeted into the abyss. Are you hearing these party noises?
Not at
It's
all.
getting nuts down there.
Oh, is it really? Are they playing Tonight's Gonna Be a Good Night?
No, but I think they're all feeling that way. Agents of financial chaos. This is something I want to say. For some reason, like, whenever I'm stressed about money, I always think, at least I'm not one of those men in the 1950s who
Mhm.
was insanely in debt and his wife and kids had no idea. Now, that image came to me by way of the movie Dancer in the Dark with Bjork. There's a
Oh, I've
character
never
like
seen
that.
it. I've never seen it.
It's a horrifying movie. It's very depressing. It's very sad. But there's a character like that. And he has, like, this nice 1950s life and the blonde wife who never looks at the books. And that image has stayed with me as like a sort of vital symbol of what stress really is. No matter how
Mm.
stressed I am, at least I don't have to go home to a wife who thinks everything's fine and just carry the fact that, like,
Yeah.
we're desperately in trouble.
Yeah, you go home alone.
I go home alone and with nothing.
And
Not less than nothing, just nothing.
just nothing exactly. Yeah.
There's a
Wait.
real joy in that.
Yeah, and I would also like to bring up, so you and I talk about our finances and like we know each other's financial status, right? Like we're for some reason I'm also always struggling. I mean, I have a savings, whatever, blah blah blah. But there's always these friends I think in everyone's lives where you're like, how the fuck are you affording this? It's like, what the fuck? And you're so curious. And can you tell our listeners about your idea for a show?
Yes. Okay. So this is going to be an amazing MTV sort of punked style
Room
reality
Raiders,
show.
like a Room Raiders
Room
type of
Raiders.
show. Yeah.
100%. So it's like, yeah. Okay. So here's the show. It's called Audited. It's like you submit your friend to it without them knowing. So it's like Rory's friend Megan has been unemployed for over a year, but she just booked a 3-week trip to Tokyo. When asked, she says she's not getting any money from her parents. But Rory senses that something's amiss. So today we're going to audit her. It's like the audit team. And then there would be like an interview with Rory and like some other friends being like, something's not adding up.
Yeah, the other day she went to dinner at Chez Henri and bought it for all of us. And she considered ordering a $1,000 bottle of champagne.
Yeah, it's like, okay, her dad manages a grocery store and her boyfriend's a magician. Something's not adding up here. So then the audited team busts in and they're like asking tough questions and they're making you like show receipts and they're asking you about this and asking you, and then they get to the bottom of it.
They're going through the credit card statements, the bank accounts.
Yeah, it's a full invasion of your constitutional rights. I was going to say right to privacy, but I forgot they revoked that one.
Wow, getting political on this show.
We're political here. Okay. We support the Constitution. We're pro. Audited because we all have, frankly, I think a ton of people are bullshitting about their money. I think everyone lies about their money.
Do you?
Yeah.
Like they pretend to have less than they have? Or is everyone in insane credit card debt?
Yeah.
All those things.
All of this,
Mm-hmm.
all of it. And I've had friends where I'm like, you got to tell me what's up.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten, we have a friend who I audited in this way once, and they told me some fascinating things about their financial arrangement with their parents.
But it didn't add up in the end.
You're right. It still didn't add up.
We were still like, what?
It still didn't add up.
Yeah, that's why we need the show. We need the experts. I need a spreadsheet.
Yeah. And the audited team is in close touch with the IRS. So don't think you can like lie to the audited team because we're not actually relying on you as our main source of information.
Ha.
We're working with the NSA. We're working with the IRS.
Yeah, exactly.
We're working with the IRA. That's our muscle.
Oh, very funny. Okay, what's the next agenda item?
Okay, so we had calendar queens, confused queens, women of the world, little babies, Susie Orman savants, agents of financial chaos. And now Tidy Tims versus Messy Jessies.
Oh my God. Clean your house, babies.
Clean it up.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you're depressed. I don't know.
You'll be less depressed if you clean up a little bit.
But that isn't the thing. That's like classic. Like I didn't know any adults who had messy houses when I was growing up. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. So yeah, that's another way in which like the adults we knew when we were children are different than the adults we are amongst now that we're adults.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, like, I don't think anyone in my parents' universe slept past 7 after the age of 24. Whereas I have friends who are still waking up at 1.
Yeah, waking up at 1 is like, I mean, I guess like you could do whatever you want. Wake up at 1, that's fine. It's not so much that I find I know it vexes you. It's not so much that I find it like annoying that someone sleeps till 1. I find it annoying when they don't recognize how countercultural it is. Not countercultural, that's almost sounds positive. How in sync with like the normal rhythms of life it is. You know what I mean? Like when people want to go to brunch at noon, I'm like, that's lunch.
We have a word for that. Yeah. For you, it's about being on the same page, which is very you.
Yes.
For me, it's about the fact that I find needing more sleep to be unvirtuous.
Yeah, I'm not really that way because I need a lot of sleep, even though I don't wake up
And it
late like
vexes
that.
me.
I don't wake up late like that. I do wake up late though, I think for an adult.
You sleep a good 10.
Yeah, and I wake up usually like during the week around, I mean, usually during the week or weekends the same, like 8.
8.
Yeah.
That's when you get your first call
But that's like pretty
from me.
late, I think, for an adult,
It is.
you know? But I don't know many people who
You're going to bed at like 10.
I go to bed at 11.
Okay.
But I don't know many people who wake up before 8 who don't if you don't have to wake up besides you.
I have to wake up.
Okay. You have a self-imposed early morning routine that could take an hour that you like to stretch out to 6 or
It
7.
was imposed by God. God commanded that I say my morning prayers. Okay. It's
Morning
not
prayers have to
self-imposed.
happen before sunrise.
No, but they have to happen before like 9:30, and I also have to eat breakfast, make coffee, walk to school.
No, I'm talking about like, sorry. You know what I'm talking about. Not work, not school.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I have to be up for life, but I'm not just someone who wakes up and then goes right to school. Got
You're
stuff
a
to do
little,
before.
I know, but you're a little sleepyhead these days, actually.
Well, I got my new bed now, and can you believe it? I've been sleeping on the most uncomfortable. I think the best way to describe it is like a futon. It's not a futon, but I think that will express to people the level of discomfort and not suitability for human sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have a bed, and it's a mattress. No, okay. Where does this fit into to our discussion about having your shit together? These are all I'm holding up a bag. These are all the screws that I was supposed to include in the bed that didn't find their way in.
That's just normal, if you
Right?
ask me. I think every adult everywhere has had extra screws and just been like, meh.
I was like, these
And then
ones
you save
don't
them
fit
for
necessary. Yeah.
you save them forever. You'll move from 6 apartments with those screws. Your children will inherit them.
Yeah, these are Grampy's screws. Someday you may need them to hold something very important together, like a family or a marriage or even just a
Grampy's
bed.
screws.
Grampy's rainy day screws.
I forgot what we were even talking about. What's the agenda item?
Messy Jessies versus Tidy Tims.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you and I were both, and we did a whole episode on cleaning that will never see the light of day, I don't think, because it was just us bragging about how clean we are.
Yeah.
We thought that might alienate some of our listeners. But you and I are both former, well, really me, but you too, but really me, like the messiest girl in the world.
Yeah. Your room didn't have like empty pizza boxes in it, but no one would be surprised if there were.
Like, I'm truly an example of reform. Like, you can change a key personality trait.
Well, and I made that change too, and I have another friend recently who's probably listening to this. Hello. Who also I visited her apartment recently, and she had totally transformed from Messy Jessie to a tidy Tim. So it's possible, and it also makes me inspired to think like maybe I can get less confused. Maybe I can remember what my flights are. Maybe I can save money. Like we change. We're flexible people.
Yeah, once you have money, you will be able to save it.
Yeah. If.
You were actually, maybe you need like another Kincaid calendar, because that was a good year for you when you know, what's that?
I'm holding up the calendar. I have a paper calendar. I've been using a calendar a lot. But yeah, Rory got me a Thomas Kincaid calendar, which
Our
provided
favorite
me
artist.
with both daily inspiration, I guess monthly, but I gazed upon it daily, and organization.
Now, what happened to the Thomas Kincaid teapot I got you? Did that make it to Israel with you?
No, and I can't think of where it is.
Wow, you look confused.
I am confused.
For a
So-
man who owns such few objects.
They're in my apartment in Boston,
Hmm.
which is like not really my apartment anymore. So like I'll have to deal with that stuff at some point. No, but yeah, it's like when I was like looking for podcasts about having your shit together, and very much the vibe of the podcast was like sort of permissive, like it's okay to not have your shit together. It's normal to not have your shit together. Or one of them was called having your shit together is not a thing. And to me, that's like in line with like that tweet we saw the other day that was like, procrastination does not mean you're lazy. It's a sign of trauma.
And
it's like, no, it's not. And you are lazy. And it's fine, but do the thing you need to do. You're not traumatized. Listen, can someone traumatized process that through procrastination? Sure. But let's not pretend that that's what's going on with, your fifth grader who's not doing his history homework.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. I mean,
Or yourself
that's
not
the
responding
thing.
to an email.
You need to ask yourself, is my apartment a filthy, dirty mess because I'm traumatized? Because if you are, seek help.
Seek help. And get a cleaning lady, get a therapist and a cleaning lady.
Yeah, and eventually your apartment does need to get cleaned, and then living in that filth isn't going to help you untraumatize yourself. So let's get going, people. Let's get the broom out, Keep on moving.
So like, that whole attitude, that whole like sort of permissive self-care attitude, I think it's like it's selling ourselves short. Like I'm more of the school of like, yes, Jesus loves you, but he loves you too much to leave you the way you are. Like, have you heard that?
No.
That's a saying. It's like we can change in all sorts of wonderful ways. We can learn how to clean our homes. We can learn how to keep a day planner in our Palm Pilot. Keep your Palm Pilot organized.
Well, it's also like you need to decide, are you too hard on yourself or are you too soft on yourself? Like some people are too hard on themselves and, they really want to achieve this high, intense level of excellence. Now, those aren't people that I'm come across too often.
Oh my God. People are, sorry, quick interruption, but people at this party are smoking cigarettes under my window.
Outside?
Yeah, and it's getting into my room. I'm gonna have to that's how adult I'm gonna have to be right now. I'm gonna have to be like, you can't smoke out here. You have to smoke on the back balcony.
Take us with you.
Should
this
I?
This is real life, yeah.
This is real, people. There's no one down there.
Was it a ghost smoking outside your window?
No, I think it means they're smoking in the apartment.
Oh no, even worse.
Oh.
That's a way you changed right there.
Yeah, I used to be a terrible I used to smoke like a chimney.
Those long drags of those skinny rollies used to do. Those long drags.
And now I can't.
So here's the thing.
Can't stand the smell of it.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like you need to decide if you're too hard on yourself or too soft on yourself. And if you're too hard on yourself, take it easy, like you don't have to be like the most perfect person in the world. If you're too soft on yourself, get that broom out. Do your taxes before April 15th.
Yeah,
Figure
that.
Go to the dentist twice a year.
You know what? It's daylight savings time here in Israel really soon.
Oh, you have daylight savings time earlier than us here. I remember that.
Yeah, on the 30th.
Oh, you get an extra hour of sleep on Sunday.
Yeah, and then you and me will have a slightly smaller time difference for a little
Yeah,
bit.
for 1 week, because ours is the week after, I think.
That's fun.
Life is full of little fun things like that.
And look at me knowing about daylight savings time more than the day before.
Yeah, there you go.
This is living proof that people do change. You can get it together. You can get
Yeah.
your bleep together.
Yeah. Who the bleep did I become best friends with?
Yeah,
The
who the
man
bleep is
who
this guy?
knows daylight savings time, went to the dentist this year.
And is not in debt. Merely has nothing. Oh, you know what? I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I want to watch Bones. Talk about growing up.
What makes you want to watch Bones?
Okay, so I've been watching The Good Wife and I love this. I love this format of like each episode is like a case that involves a crime
Oh,
and
a
the crime stories.
procedural.
I love procedurals
Uh-huh.
and I don't watch them, but when I do watch them, I love them. So I was like, what's another good procedural I can watch after The Good Wife? What leapt right to my mind?
Bones.
Bones. David Boreanaz.
And Emily Blunt's sister.
Emily Deschanel.
No, Zoe Deschanel's sister, Emily.
Yes.
There we go.
And a star-studded cast, if there ever was one.
What about my favorite show that no one's ever seen? Evil. That's a procedural.
What's Evil?
Evil is a show. I might have to cut this out because it's like literally so embarrassing that I've seen it, let alone watch it. About a priest, a psychologist.
Oh, there
What are
are
you
people
doing?
out there. There are
You're
people
gonna
out
yell. We get to see Matt in action, everyone. Doing his best work.
Oh, they're being so gross. I can't even interact with them. Pouring booze into each other's mouths. What's going on?
How old are they?
I don't know, like in their 20s.
Do they have their shit together?
They don't appear to. Okay, so Evil is a priest, a rabbi, and Raquel Welch.
A priest, a psychologist, and like a tech guy go
Oh,
around investigating demonic possessions.
Yeah, there's a new season of Unsolved Mysteries out on Netflix.
Oh, when did that come out?
Just a couple days ago. Obviously, it's like, the Unsolved Mysteries reboot is not
Inferior.
great.
No,
Yeah.
it's inferior. Yeah.
And the podcast is way better because like the podcast more captures the original show than the Netflix reboot. But there's a really great UFO episode.
Ooh, okay. Oh, by the way, I listened to the most recent Spooked episode, the one in Hawaii. Everyone should listen to it.
Upsetting, right? A ghost can really ruin your life.
I didn't know that.
I
Well,
didn't either.
I guess there was that Dorothy Hamill ghost.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That was awful. People, listen. Okay, first of all, tell your friends about the How to Be podcast. Post it on your Facebook and on your social media. Help us
Yes,
get the word out.
Facebook's a good place for it because that's aunts and uncles seem to like this podcast.
Yeah, please post it. Post it right now while we have you on the line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just $1 a day. Call right now.
Yeah, come on.
$1 a day.
Help Matt make it to November with net neutral.
So yeah, post this in your Facebook, and then after you've listened to How to Be, which you're almost done with this episode, then listen to the Spooked podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope Spooked repays this favor.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. All right, so I think we know the answer to this.
Just do it, people.
Just
Grow
have your
up.
shit together. Come on. It's not that hard.
Grow the fuck up. We're grown-ups.
What
We're
are you
getting
doing?
old.
What are you doing anyway? Lazing about? Being lazy is so great, is so much better after you've done something. It feels better. Being lazy when you're only being lazy feels really bad.
Oh my God, they're playing Beyonce downstairs. I need to get down to this party.
You were just complaining about them.
I know, but if you can't beat them, join them.
Oh, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Roar.